Hello, hello, my Scorpio collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. Welcome to your Path of True Love read for April 2020. I am your reader, Mark Angelo Lyons, professional witch, professional intuitive, and very, very happy to be the president of Drawing the Circle Productions, working from home, and have been for a while now, but very glad to still be able to serve people via YouTube. Doing the readings, helping people out, kind of my thing as a Virgo. And by the way, my older brother is a Scorpio. So kind of grew up with Scorpionic energy around me, and I have Neptune in Scorpio, but a lot of Generation X does. So explains a lot about us. Let's get down to business, shall we? The Path of True Love reading is about you. Yes, of course, it's about relationships. It's about the hero's journey, your spiritual path, your healing process through the lens of your relationships, because it's really how we have a lot of our lessons delivered to us is through our relationships, but it's hardly only about romantic sexual relationships. It's really about your evolution. And since so many of us are sheltering in place around the world, the idea of hooking up might not be on the menu. But if you are, of course, in lockdown with others, family members, etc., then I think that's why the Divine, my Pantheons, constructed this reading this time around specifically for you becoming your own soulmate, the mate to your own soul. A lot of self-healing, a lot of self-love, self-acceptance, etc. So it's only 10 cards in the spread. It is general, so please take what resonates, leave what does not, and check your other signs. They're running between 30 and 45 minutes, depending on the complexity of the cards that come up, what needs explaining, what the guides are saying through me, etc. So sit back, relax, breathe. Let's see what unfolds. I may sip my coffee. Interspersing readings with naps. I kind of have to wake up and, sort of start my day over again with a cup of coffee. But I'm very, very happy to be doing this. So let's do this. Take a nice deep breath. The more we're both breathing, partnering with our breath, focusing on the breath. We're all in the present moment, and it's so much easier on my end to feel what's empathically going on in the collective when I take the deep breath. And the same might be true with you in terms of feeling what resonates and what doesn't, being the intuitive water sign that you are. Cool? Let's do this. Here we go. I'm going to start with the Caroline Myss archetype cards. Just one card to get me the archetypal dynamics for you guys, for you Scorpios, for the month of April 2020. All the decks that I read are in the description box below anyway, so go have a look. Nice deep breath. Here we go. My collective pantheons of angels, goddesses, gods, masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please, one card in clarity for the Scorpio collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs on the Path of True Love for April 2020, please. What is the dominant archetype they're dealing with within their own energy field, within their own soul contracts for April 2020? Lovely. The poet archetype, definitely a member of the creativity family of archetype. The shadow attribute turns a lyric gift to negative or destructive effect. Quite like that man from Nantucket. I'll leave that there. The light attribute expresses soul insights in symbolic language. Now keep in mind, poetry doesn't always rhyme. Epic poetry, beat poetry, although some of the beat poetry absolutely did rhyme. But it really is about how you express yourself, communicating deeper soul stuff in not just a poetic way, but in a lyric way. Soul insights in symbolic language. So definitely a part of the creative family of archetypes. So certainly, Scorpios, since you're not always so very self-expressive, that just comes with the sign, right? Can be very much fixed water in terms of hidden subterranean stuff. Certainly ruled by Pluto, the god Hades, I get that. So maybe just start writing, right? And or, speaking, recording in some way, just to kind of get things off your chest, to move the energy from your soul through the psychology, through the body and out into the world. Even if no one else sees it, it might be very therapeutic, sort of like journaling, but with more of a creative, artistic bend to it. people are surprised what comes out of them when they start writing, when they know nobody else is going to see it. Let the soul speak. Very, very powerful stuff. Neat. Let's ask the angels what's going on. Because remember, this is about you becoming your own soulmate, the mate of your soul. Partnering with your own soul. It seems odd because we are the soul, and yet we also seem to be the personality, and we seem to also have the ego in us, and we seem to have a lot going on in the collective right now that's affecting us empathically and mentally. So we're all one anyway. There's no place where you can draw the dotted line except in the physical body to say this is me, this is you, and energy. We're all one thing. So take a nice deep breath. Let's ask the angels with the Healing with the Angels Oracle. What's up for y'all? Nice deep breath. Oh, my angels, that felt lovely. Please, one card in clarity for the Scorpio collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. What is the healing angel that they can work with? The angel of healing. It's Healing with the Angels Oracle. So what is the Healing with the Angels available for them April 2020 on the path of true love, that they may become their own soulmates, the mates of their own soul, helping themselves heal with their soul? Well, here we are. We got the romance card. So it's the first time this has come up in this series. This is reading number 8. So keep in mind, romantic poetry is a thing. Right? It really is. Not just poetry about romance. It's a whole genre, right? And centuries old, some of it. So there's something here really about a romance. Now, of course, is this about another person? Possibly. It's only 2 cards out of 10 down on the table so far. But this can be a romance with poetry, a romance with creativity, a romance. You can have a romance with a person, a place, or a thing. But certainly if a person is indicated, we may see that in the remaining cards. So that's pretty good to for a start. The poet archetype with romance can really mean that there is some, what they say, still waters run deep. There might be some things deep inside of you that need to be expressed, even if only between you. Well, I'm going to say you, yourself, and I, but you, yourself, and you. Whatever. Here we go. Let's ask the Daughters of the Moon Tarot, a deck that I usually use for the voices of the Divine Feminine, the goddesses alone. For brevity, I'm doing it for the gods and the goddesses, so the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine, to express their guidance and grace through this deck. Take a nice deep breath, please. Because we're going to do the element spread for you all. Please, my gods and goddesses, sacred, top 5 cards at the top of the deck, element spread for the Scorpio collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs on the path of true love, for their elements of fire, earth, air, and water, what they want, what they have, what they think, what they feel, and the point of view of their soul regarding them, loving themselves, healing themselves, being their own soulmate, being there for themselves, supportive, self-esteem, self-boundaries, self-approval, self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, that whole soulmate path on the path of true love. Please, thank you, my gods. Top 5 cards, elements spread, April 2020, Maiden, Mother, Crone. Thank you oh so very much. Great. Let's see your element of fire. What it is that you desire that's helping you on the path of true love to become your own soulmate. And we've got the Aries card. Now, as I said, with this card of romance, this could be the person that you have the romantic connection, interest with. Maybe you're together, maybe you're not. Maybe you've met, maybe you haven't. Regardless, when the Aries card pops up, remember, they don't have to be Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, any of that. They can just be like an Aries. But when I tune to this card, and any of the zodiac cards, any of the court cards, I really am directed more towards the house energy, right? 12 signs, 12 houses. First house is the self, the personality, and the ego. So what it is that you may really want has more to do with you individually, right? Here this is a reading on the path of true love for how to mate with your own soul. Well, that takes a certain amount of selfishness. Now, I know we only think of that word as being negative and narcissistic, but there is higher selfishness, self-care. Like today, I had to take off a good chunk of the day. I moved some of my clients to later on in the week because I was just burnt. Like, not just physically tired, creatively burnt out, right? And I needed to take care of some stuff for myself in the house. So I really took the time to do that. Now people say, well, you have to do that every day. Yeah, but, you know, in this situation that we're in with so much going on, it's easy to neglect the self, particularly to give yourself the space that you need, which it seems like many of us are getting the space that we need, whether we want it or not. So let's just keep that in mind. Remember, if you're not new, if you've been watching me for a while, I pop up a picture at the end and I see what reflexes and connects to each other, right? So let's keep that on there. The element of fire, what you want. Let's see what's going on with the element of earth, what you have. Victory, momentum, forward motion, overcoming obstacles. So this might very well be about you, this card of the Aries, both with fire energy here. I mean, do check your chart and see what planets you have in Aries. I have Saturn retrograde in Aries, but those are generational as well. And what I'm getting here is that what you have is the opportunity to really overcome some things within yourself, the drive to do so. Even if it's overcoming your own fears, but I'm being drawn to that card of romance, that maybe there's some stuff that you're working on for yourself in order to become more romantic. And I don't necessarily mean in the flowers and music and candy kind of way, but to allow yourself to be more open and vulnerable, perhaps in terms of self-expression, with this card of creativity and poetry, right? Like even poetry in motion, right? It's a great song from I think the 50s. My dad used to listen to a lot of 50s music. Poetry in motion, right? So I love this card, the Seven of Flames. Women with fire in their hands galloping in a similar direction on cooling lava. So even under the crust of the lava, it's all moving them in the same direction. So there's definitely forward motion for you. That might seem paradoxical, though, because so many of us feel stuck, right? And we're not out there, you know, going after the things that we want. But there's definitely a momentum within you here moving forward. So maybe this is a time that what you really want, or in terms of what you can really choose, is to apply that to yourself, not just to better yourself, but to help yourself grow and evolve, to take that scorpionic depth that is always there. And really, we're talking one of the three mystical signs. Well, the water signs are usually the mystical signs. I won't say there are only three, but that can really go deeper, not just into the spiritual realm, but the divine realm, to touch the divine within themselves. But that is a door that you can only go through by yourself. Yeah, you can have a spiritual counselor like me, or a spiritual director that can sort of help you through those steps, but ultimately the decisions are yours, right? What will you do? What won't you do? I was chatting with a friend last night on text message, telling him about, since this lockdown, I've had, not every day, but I've certainly had some mystical experiences of the divine that has brought me to tears of love. I won't call them tears of joy. I will call them like the healing of my heart. Just made me cry. I love the gods so much. I go watch some of my super chats from the past couple of days. I actually break down and cry with the love for the gods. And he says, well, a mystical experience if people are willing to have it. I'm like, and I am. I know what they're like. It takes a lot to get there, but once you're there, nothing else in this world can touch it. It's a pale shadow compared. Yeah. So let's see what's going on in your mental field. What are you thinking? What's going on in your mind to help you be your own soulmate? Here it is. Withdrawal. Right? You're really thinking about going deeper into the self. Now, Eight of Cups you'll hear over and over, in particularly on YouTube. Oh, it's walking away. It's walking away from a situation. I don't really see it that way. I see it more walking towards, and in this case, because we're dealing with Scorpio energy, walking into the self. Yeah, perhaps walking away from somebody. Remember, you've got this momentum, this victory energy, whether you know it or not, that maybe there is some embracing of the shadow that's going on here. And embracing the shadow is hard to do when there are people around, I'll tell you. The divine always seems to sequester me away, divide me away, to disconnect. Just will, like, old friends, like friends, just disappear like big weed whacker. They're just gone all at once, and I'm left in my solitary space feeling lonely and alone, go in to embrace those shadows, to do the inner child work, whatever it is that needs to rise up within me. Tricky shit, but worth it, because that's the when we embrace the shadow, we give ourselves the love that no one else can. It's not the easiest thing in the world, and it's work, but we're worth it. We're worth doing that kind of deep work on ourselves, particularly if we want to be a soulmate to somebody else. We have to be that for ourselves. And it's so cliche, but, you know, in the words of Saint RuPaul of the Drag Race, you gotta love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, how the hell are you gonna love anybody else? Can I get an amen? Well, this is not just loving yourself. This feels like a really, really deep dive into your emotions that other people don't know about, probably about romance, past, present, or future, maybe all three, but in some way expressing it, expressing those insights in symbolic language. And it's interesting because the word insight is on here, expresses soul insights. Well, maybe you're going in to get to the insights. Yeah? And certainly if you're a poet, this makes complete sense, but I'm trying to keep it general, right? In the sense that not everybody who's reading this may be a poet, but it doesn't mean that they can't experience the poetry of their own soul, whether they write it or not, right? Let's see what's going on since you are a water sign. So far, you've got 2 fire signs and a water sign. What's in the water position? What is it that you're feeling in terms of emotion? Good. Balance. The 2 of Pentacles. Now, it's only a 2. It's not the most stable thing in the world, but it is about balance rather than imbalance, right? So maybe you have achieved through this victory, right, an emotional balance to be able to do the work necessary, the internal introspection, plumbing the depths of your soul, so to speak, in order to mate with what you find there. And my eye keeps going back to this Aries card, and as I feel it, this really does feel like self-healing, self-love, self-acceptance, self-approval, which is really what embracing the shadow is, what alchemy is, what certainly soul contract work seems to be about, to heal what you can heal, which is all within you. And let's be clear, just because you have the card of victory doesn't mean this is a race. It just means you have that sort of momentum. Maybe it is slow and steady wins the race, since it seems like we're going to be sheltering in place for a while longer. What better time to do that? And maybe that's the universe's plan in all of this. It's like, lock them up so that they do the healing, so that they all emerge more connected to their soul than to their ego. Could be. Could be. Well, speaking of the soul, what is in your position of spirit? Point of view of the soul, or the voice of the soul? Interesting. Another fire card, 3 out of 5. But this is a court card. Chantico, Mother of Flames. You could say the Queen of Wands here. Definitely speaks of creativity and good fortune, the Leo card, 5th house. But also that idea that she's taking, you know, bread and baking them in an oven, a fixed fire, right? You have to keep the heat at a certain temperature. That the soul is perhaps saying there is alchemy. You are in the crucible now, but it is for your good fortune, and so that you're able to harness and direct your creativity. Now, what they just dropped into my head is, remember that creative energy and sexual energy are essentially the same thing, governed by the same chakra, the sacrum, the sacral chakra, connected to the genitals, which rules Scorpio. So maybe this isn't just about the creativity with this poet here. Maybe it's about your sexuality, your sex drive, particularly if you can't touch nobody's stuff and nobody's around to touch yours. To channel that in a way that you have the emotional balance for, to have victory here, but you gotta go deep. Yeah, embracing the shadow is not something that I myself only do between Samhain and Yule. Sometimes it happens several times during the week, but I also realize I'm not just clearing shadows for me. I'm clearing shadows for all of humanity as we go through this. Yeah. So if I take a couple of days off, you know why? Muggles work from sun to sun, witches' work is never done. There's your element spread. Let's see what's going on with the extra 3 cards that I'm going to give you here, that I'm going to draw for you to get you clarity on all of this. The next 2 are the voices of the Ascended Masters, those who have already gone ahead and played the game and are kind of coaching us from outside the game, if you like. Take a nice deep breath. We're going to do the Chuck Spezzano Love Pack here. my Ascended Masters, my Ascended Masters of True Love, please. One card in clarity for the Scorpio Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs. There are 4 suits in this deck: the suit of the problem, the suit of luck, the suit of grace, and the suit of healing. So please, of those 4, my Ascended Masters of True Love, please, one card in clarity for the Scorpio Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs on the path of true love, April 2020. Yeah, orgasm. There we go. I love working with the different decks because they really, yeah, I would say this is about erotic poetry. This is about you kind of dealing with your own sexual energy in a time perhaps when, you know, there ain't nobody around except Pornhub, if you know what I'm saying. You do know what I'm saying. Most Scorpios do. So, you know, keep in mind if there's guilt and shame around all of that stuff, now's the perfect time to feel all of that and heal all of that, because the truth of the matter is that all energy is divine energy. A demon is but an angel that has forgotten who it is, right? And so a demon lead can be alchemized into an angel gold. And, you know, it's so funny. We don't judge ourselves for what we eat quite the way we do about our sexuality, and yet it's all bodily function, right? There's energy behind it, hunger, regardless of what you're hungry for. Except we really do judge ourselves by what we eat. So, you know, we do a lot of judgment about this stuff that really is self-imposed, that this is a luck card. It's a getting lucky card, that there is probably a real shift and alchemy ready, waiting to happen for you. You may be ready, you may be able, but are you willing? See, that's what I think a lot of this fire is. 3 out of 5 cards here. Are you really willing to embrace what's rising inside of you? You know, love what arises. Whatever rises, love that. It's a book by Matt Kahn. He's the one who gave me those words through his work. But when you're embracing the shadow, it's really essentially the same thing, although granted a bit more ancient, a bit more shamanic, a bit more pagan. So yeah, maybe there is some sexual healing, because when you got that feeling, you need sexual healing. We just gave you a Marvin Gaye. Okay. Let's move on, as it were, to the Matt Kahn Speak of the Angel, the Matt Kahn Healing Mantra deck. We'll get you a healing mantra with all of this. Particularly because of romance there and orgasm. I mean, you're the first one that's really come out in these readings that said, oh, that's what this is about. And I'm glad. I'm happy for you, my Scorpios. One side of the card is the mantra, the other side the name of the mantra, so I can look it up in the book. Otherwise, it's all that's written on the card, which is great for personal work, by the way. And I'm not getting any kickbacks or nothing from Hay House, or they don't know me. They don't know me. Right? I'm sharing this because it really works for me, and I know it's helped a lot of people. So here we go. Breathe. My Ascended Masters of True Love, again, please, one card in clarity for the Scorpio Collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign on the path of true love for April 2020. In terms of being their own soulmate, the mate of their own soul, what is the perfect healing mantra for them on the path of true love for April 2020? Liberating love. So yeah, if there's stuff that's been in chains, been repressed within you, right? Liberating love. I allow myself to receive all the fulfillment I'm willing to give. Willing. That element of fire here. Feeling that. Let's read you what the little bookie book says. Shall we? Surely, shall we? Surely. Liberating love. I allow myself to receive all the fulfillment I am willing to give. When love is liberated, your heart remains open to all the gifts that life has to offer. As love is liberated from the emotional wounds of the human condition, it becomes easy to accept, forgive, and receive. When such actions seem exhausting, it is simply a sign that your heart doesn't feel safe enough to remain open. When this occurs, your will's freedom to embrace each tender corner of your conscience will allow opening up to resume. When the heart has permission to open, your love is liberated, and you can shine a light into all levels of reality that awaken the truth of all. And I get that. You probably got some romantic wounds. Who doesn't, really? Anybody who's like, oh no, I've never had a problem in romance. I'm like, yeah, what are you drinking? I'll have what she's having. I just when Harry met Sally'd us. This mantra is ideal for learning how to believe in yourself, promoting self-realization, and integrating the shadow. Yeah, I love when a game comes together. I love when it comes together, when a spread just comes together like that. Let's get you one more. The Voices of the Higher Self through the Oracle of Love. The Whisper of Love Oracle. We'll pop up the picture. We'll see what else connects with all the pieces of the puzzle on the table. Take a nice deep breath. The higher selves of all involved, please, one card in clarity for the Scorpio collective. Sun, Moon, Rising, with Venus signs on the path of true love for April 2020. Please, what is the whisper of love from the higher self so that they can mate with their own soul, that they can be their own soulmate? Please, a whisper of love. Ooh, top card for the Scorpio collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs, path of true love 2020. Speak the language of love. Poetry. Speak the language of love. Loving words have the power to change someone's life, including your own. This is a pretty interconnected spread here. So, I mean, that does make sense. And remember, speaking the language of love, it might be something that changes you. It might be something that you share in confidentiality with someone. If not a beloved, then perhaps a counselor, a therapist, or even to your own God's, angels, higher power, however you work that for yourself. But you know what? Let's see what's going on literally in the larger picture. We'll pop it up and see what's going on, all right? Magic clap. So we start you off with the poet archetype, and the shadow turns a lyric gift to negative or destructive effect. The light attribute expresses soul insights in symbolic language, and that's probably about romance. And remember, you can have a romance with poetry. I have a romance with coffee, right? You have a romance with my couch this week. So comfy wumpy my couch. But chances are, with the other cards on the table here, this is about romance with another, or perhaps others, you know, like about the past, about the present, and about the future. And certainly with that Aries card there in the fire position, this might be about one particular romantic sexual interest in general, right? Or it could be in general in the sense of you really wanting that creative cardinal fire to initiate, to move something, to move forward, something new, something fresh, but something very satisfying as well as it can be about you really wanting to bring yourself in, your creativity, your sexuality into alignment. And what you have is the Seven of Flames in the position of Earth here, that victory, that forward motion, that forward momentum to pretty much assure victory here if you go for it. And your mind is on withdrawal. Maybe you are out of or getting ready to walk away from a toxic situation, something that is just dead, no sense beating the horse, but deeper into the self, even if it's just a temporary walk away from your current situations to go deeper within yourself for your own emotional benefit, to embrace the shadows, the feelings that have been repressed in that subterranean part of the psyche, right? Because emotionally, you have the Two of Pentacles, balance. Now, if you are feeling out of balance emotionally, then that is saying with that card of victory, balance is available there. But I would say overall, that says that it's not that hard of a balance to make because, you're probably really in touch with your emotions, as so many Scorpios are. You're just not wearing it on your sleeve, right? You're just not blasting it all over social media. But then with that card of Shantico, the Mother of Flames, the Leo card from the position of the soul, it's saying that your creativity and your sexuality, it may take time for everything to come together, bake as it will, as she is baking those loaves in an oven. But there is a process of transformation, and do remember, fifth house that governs Leo is creativity, sexuality, good fortune, really, really wonderful, pleasurable things there for you. And that is certainly seen here in the card of Orgasm, one of the cards in the Chuck Spezzano Love Pack. The Voices of the Ascended Masters, saying that, you know, this is about you perhaps healing your sexuality or having a sexual experience even within your own soul on perhaps a tantric or kundalini level. Look up kundalini, Kundalini, something worth looking at. With the mantra of liberating love. I allow, big word there, I allow myself to receive all the fulfillment I'm willing to give. And what if that fulfillment that you're giving is about embracing, integrating the shadow, giving that love to yourself to bring you even more. By giving to yourself, you receive more from the outside. Again, maybe not everyone is living alone during this time of sheltering in place, etc., social distancing. But certainly a brilliant mantra for you to be working with. Keeping in mind, I would recommend that mantra because from the higher self, speaking the language of love. Loving words have the power to change someone's life, including your own, and that would make sense considering the mantra is, I allow myself to receive all the fulfillment I'm willing to give. And it does feel like we are talking about sexual fulfillment there in terms of orgasm, romantic fulfillment in terms of that romance card, but also with that 8 of Cups on your mind, going into the self, that 2 of Pentacles, bringing yourself into balance. This is ultimately about self-love and becoming the mate of your own soul, your own divinity, which holds you in total innocence. You've done nothing wrong. This is all healable. This is all dealable. But speak the language of love with yourself first and see where it flows after that with that poet archetype you have there. Very interesting, and in my opinion, probably the clearest in terms of romantic sexual energy. I know anybody can watch a reading and turn it into a romantic sexual reading, even if none of the cards are on the table, and that's our intuitive prerogative to feel that out. But here you literally have sexual romantic. So you are the first sign out of the first 8 that I've done in the Path of True Love series this time around that has that. So, may the Scorpio collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs be blessed with all that they need on the path of true love for April 2020 to heal, to learn, to grow, to evolve, to have the orgasms, to have the romance, to go into a healthy withdrawal and find their inner balance, to liberate love and then speak the language of love for their well-being, their own healing, and for the well-being of all. So mote it be, and so it is. Oh, I love you so much, my Scorpios. You know, my first real boyfriend was a Scorpio, and man, was he tall. Tall, drink of water, still is. But we're separated by distance. It's okay. I haven't seen him since I was 17 years old, so I think it's okay. I'm going to be 52. But I've always had a thing for Scorpios in my heart. So I really wish you all the very best and the very blessed of the path of true love. For April 2020. Please do like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and comment below if you like. Hail, farewell, and blessed be.